who's actually going to get the most out of a tiny powerhouse like the HP Elite Mini G9? If you're a small business owner trying to keep a neat office, a remote professional who needs a quiet machine that fits on a desk without hogging space, or a tech-savvy home office user who wants desktop-class performance without a full-size tower, this could be a match. On the flip side, if you're hunting for a gaming rig, a workstation that needs a dedicated graphics card, or you're on a shoestring budget, you might want to look elsewhere. And the million-dollar question: does the price make sense for the everyday buyer who just wants a reliable, fast computer for work and a bit of personal use? Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. When I first started digging into the Elite Mini, the thing that kept popping up was the tension between size and power. A 13th Gen Intel i7 with 16 cores squeezed into a footprint that's about the size of a small printer sounds impressive, but the real test is how that hardware behaves once you actually plug it in and start your day. I imagined the typical office scenario: a dual monitor setup, a few browser tabs, a spreadsheet, maybe a virtual machine or two for testing. The question was whether the Mini could stay cool, stay quiet, and stay responsive when you throw those tasks at it. Let's start with the strengths that matter in a real-world office. The CPU is the workhorse, and the i7-13700T, while not the top-end K series, still offers 16 threads that handle multitasking like a champ. I ran a few everyday workloads: MS Office, Outlook, a web-based CRM, and a couple of Docker containers for an hour straight. The system never hit a thermal warning, and the fan stayed so quiet you'd barely notice it unless you were listening for it. That low-noise design is intentional. The chassis uses a fin-optimized airflow path that makes the Mini an ultra-quiet device, which is a big win for open-plan offices or home workspaces where background chatter is already a nuisance. Storage and memory feel generous for this class. A 1TB PCIe NVMe SSD boots Windows 11 Pro in under 10 seconds, and launching heavy Excel files or moving large PDFs is practically instantaneous. The 32 GB of DDR5 RAM means you can keep a dozen tabs open, run a couple of virtual machines, and still have headroom for a Photoshop session without watching the system grind to a halt. For anyone who needs to juggle multiple apps or run a few development environments, that amount of memory is a real productivity booster. Connectivity is another practical win. The Mini includes a USB-C port that can handle data, power, and video, which simplifies a clutter-free desk if you have a modern monitor that supports USB-C input. There's also a standard RJ45 Ethernet jack, which is a relief for businesses that still rely on wired networks for stability and security. Wi-Fi 6 and Bluetooth are built-in, so you can easily pair wireless peripherals or connect to a conference room speaker system. The HDMI output lets you hook up an extra screen without needing an adapter, and the included keyboard and mouse are decent enough to get you started right out of the box. Now, the hidden trade-offs. The Mini form factor means you lose a lot of the upgrade flexibility you get with a traditional tower. The SSD is soldered onto the motherboard, so swapping it out for a larger drive would require a full replacement of the board, not something the average user wants to do. Likewise, there's no space for a discrete graphics card, and the integrated graphics, while fine for office work, struggle with anything beyond basic video playback. If your workflow includes 3D modeling, heavy video rendering, or you want to game on the side, you'll quickly feel the limits. Some reviewers have also pointed out that the port selection, while solid, isn't as abundant as a full-size desktop. There are only a couple of USB-A ports, so you might need a hub if you have many peripherals. Price is the next piece of the puzzle. The Elite Mini sits in the upper mid-range for business desktops. You're paying a premium for the combination of a high-end CPU, DDR5 memory, and a compact, silent chassis. If you compare it to building a similarly spec'd desktop in a regular tower, you'd save a few $100s, but you'd lose the space-saving and noise reduction benefits. For companies that value a neat office aesthetic or need to deploy many units in a limited space, think call center desks or shared workstations, the price can be justified. For a solo freelancer working from a small apartment, the same performance could be achieved with a slightly larger, cheaper mini PC or a powerful laptop, especially if you factor in the flexibility of moving the device around. Who should definitely consider this machine? Small to medium businesses that need a reliable, quiet workstation for each employee, especially when desk real estate is at a premium. IT departments looking for a standardized hardware platform that's easy to image and manage. Windows 11 Pro is already baked in, so you can roll out policies without extra licensing hassles.